Hello, and good morning, afternoon, or evening. My name is Andy Meggs, and I'm a consultant with NEOS. I put this presentation together to inform you about one of the tools or methods that we use when we're modernizing our clients' processes. It's called FutureWeek. NEOS has helped a wide range of companies overcome process constraints. Over the years, we've honed our tools and methods, and have developed one in particular that I'd like to discuss today. FutureWeek, as it's called, is a method for rapidly and collaboratively redesigning business processes. The centerpiece of the FutureWeek methodology is a week of collective brainstorming and ideation among process stakeholders that gives the method its name. Let's start by looking at process improvement as a whole. Processes are key assets of any organization, and so they can drive competitive advantage or be sources of risk and liability. We at NEOS advocate a process-centric view that incorporates organization and technology as enablers of optimized processes. Optimized business processes are always an advantage, but there are a number of conditions in particular that tend to inspire process improvement. So this slide contains a selection of some of the common ones. It's by no means exhaustive, but just to touch on a few of the biggest ones, digitalization of processes has been a developing trend in recent years, particularly as firms move to address mobile and cloud technologies with their technology portfolios. Compliance is also a very prominent member of this list. Today's rapidly changing and uncertain regulatory environment has required firms to change the way they conduct business. This is in response not only to existing regulatory requirements, but those that are new or even pending. For example, violating the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 can cost up to $15 million per calendar year, not including the effects of reputational damage. The implementation of a well-designed process control, on the other hand, is measured in thousands at the most. So there are several challenges that confront any business process improvement effort. The first of these is around generating buy-in. People are often set in their ways and proud of what they do. They can be resistant to directives from outside or above that require things to be done in some new way. Process improvement projects that aren't conducted in a sensitive and inclusive manner can run onto the rocks by alienating the people that most need support from. And that's the process participants and stakeholders. Now, secondly, and this one's at the very heart of the business process improvement question itself, how to design a future state that's better, faster, or more reliable than the existing one. If there were any easy, painless answers, then the process participants would have probably improved the process themselves by now. Now, thirdly, there's a challenge around acting rapidly. Process work can be some of the most worthwhile work that management invests its time in, but it isn't always easy. By its very nature, it requires participation from a large number of different people and can involve occasionally touchy subjects. An effective process improvement project needs to take steps to ensure that there's no wheel spinning and that ROI is a constant and central driver. Fourthly, process improvement efforts are often challenged to get a full end-to-end contextual view of the process in question. So people often only understand their small part in the process, but they don't know about what their coworkers are doing before or after them. This introduces a risk in that changes implemented on a single process or step within the process could have impacts elsewhere in the organization. FutureWeek addresses each of these challenges in turn. Process improvement efforts require input from the process stakeholders, and often this can mean many separate meetings, redundant discussions, and limited collaboration. FutureWeek, on the other hand, substitutes a jumble of individual meetings for one carefully facilitated group workshop over the course of a week. In doing so, it addresses these four key challenge areas. So for starters, all parties to a process are included up front, and participants are invited to take a hands-on role in redesigning their own process. So stakeholders who feel their opinions were heard and considered are vastly more likely to support the new process when it comes time for implementation. Second, a solid future state design is more likely to result when people are able to bounce ideas off of one another. People also benefit from understanding their coworkers' challenges and thoughts. And now on the third item, by reducing redundant and separate meetings, FutureWeek is considerably accelerated. And lastly, FutureWeek provides a robust end-to-end view by bringing all stakeholders to the table. So this decreases the risk of unintended consequences around process changes. FutureWeek methodology is an accelerated approach for process improvement. Depending on the size of the business process in question, it can take anywhere around 3 to 6 weeks, from discovery to final design and readout. Once NEOS analysts have grounded themselves in the business and in the target process, the FutureWeek itself can be organized and conducted. Because it's scalable according to the size of the target process, FutureWeek itself may look different. For example, for one complex process for an annuities provider, we needed 3 to 4 days of sessions. On the other hand, we worked on smaller processes with fewer stakeholders that required only a future day to brainstorm an effective future state. After FutureWeek, the NEOS project team conducts any follow-up discussions required, and this is where any items that were tabled for the sake of a streamlined FutureWeek session can be brought back up and ironed out. And it's also where participants can share insight better dealt with one-on-one. Now the project concludes with a final design, vetting, and eventually a readout that empowers the client to modernize their process. Thanks for listening to our FutureWeek webcast. If you have any questions or would like to know more about the FutureWeek approach, you can contact me at the email provided, or our contact email address should also be on your screen. For more information about designing and implementing future states, check out our product development white paper where we discuss the process in more detail. Thanks again for listening.